Hello everyone, and welcome back from winter break. I hope everyone had an amazing Christmas and a happy New Year. And we are going to start this New Year off with something slightly different. So, for this little section of Patreon exclusives, I will be talking about the Rainbow High and Shadow High doll franchise. So, this is just a sampling of the introduction that I will be doing so that you guys can actually get a taste of what I will be talking about in this mini series, because like most of the things that I have done in the past, I didn't complete all of my musings, but I wrote enough down that I think that you will be able to get the gist of what I am talking about. But yes, this is the introduction to that series. I will be releasing the rest of my musings on my Patreon this month. So if that is something that you are interested in, if you are a doll connoisseur and you want to hear me just go yap about my tinfoil hat theories regarding a specific niche doll line, then by all means be my guest. Pop over to my Patreon and it will be released there at the $2 tier. For the rest of you, this is just the sampling of that. So let's just start to talk about it. So, it's no secret that I'm a huge fan of doll collecting. It's something I've done ever since I was a small girl, and when I got my own disposable income, I was able to spend quite a bit of money on Monster High and Ever After High dolls, all while trying to complete and add to my Disney doll collection, which is extensive, I should say. With the recent dearth of these amazing lines no longer gracing shelves, and I do have to make a little bit of a note that I had these musings back in 2022, so we did not yet have the new line of Monster High after the release of the movie came out, so we just had no Monster High at all on the shelves during this time, so bear that in mind as we go on. So I had actually found myself in a bit of a doll slump. That is until this new line of dolls caught my attention. Rainbow High and Shadow High dolls. They stand at a towering 11 inches, have features similar to Bratz dolls, so big heads and large, beautiful eyes, and even more stunning clothing. More than once, I've thought about picking up a doll or two just because they are so unique and beautiful. And at the time, I was still planning to. It is now 2025 and I have not done that. So I guess it wasn't a super drive. But as is traditional with my brain and how it works, I was curious as to the lore behind these dolls. I say this because I caught an ad on YouTube a while back promoting the dolls that had the tagline, "Shadow High, Rainbow High, you don't stand a chance." Naturally, that made me realize that these were rival schools. But what's the beef? Why are they so dead set against each other? Well, the morning that I actually initially started mulling this over, which was August 28th, I found out. And oh boy, we need to talk about this. First off, there doesn't appear to be any rivalry between the schools per se, kind of like what we saw in like the Ever After High franchise. And I was surprised to see that there was a second school added into the mix, or I guess a third school rather, called Pacific High, which I will touch on as best I can, as there doesn't seem to be much going on at that school, save for vibes, as the kids say. But getting back to the two schools proper, these seem to be less high schools and more like elite career charter schools for rich kids. And I say this mostly because I've lived an American high school experience and we didn't have classes like photography or or cosmetology or visual design that you could focus on and actually acquire a degree by the end. Because if we had those kinds of things, you bet your ass I would have taken them in a heartbeat. Now, that's not to say that the concept isn't interesting, but I find a high school that caters to a certain breed of child to have sinister implications. And this becomes even more apparent when I get into the student body at large in further posts that I will be posting on my Patreon. This hurts me on a personal level because I always told myself that I would never be one of those adults who would critique children's media in the way that most others do when they criticize, like Barbie, for having such a skinny waistline and big boobs. However, Barbie is marketed as an all-American girl who can be anything, and for the most part started from humble beginnings. And while the body issues have also been laid at the doorstep of the Monster High Doll franchise, at least the characters from that school had friendships. Like, of course, there was infighting between some members of the student body, but if you ever saw the 2010 Flash shorts, then you will know that those were usually used as a learning opportunity to show that you don't have to be mean to get what you want, and compromising is always an option. I see no indication of that in Rainbow High and Shadow High. So at the time, in 2022, I was seeing a franchise that not only focused on being rich, powerful, and elite as a must for success, but also rewarding bad behavior and highlighting mental illness as a positive trait to be used against others whenever the person suffering from the untreated condition sees fit. That's what I mean when I say this line has sinister implications. Bear in mind that this is all just my opinion and observation, but I'm hoping to prove that point in my posts later on in this series. So that is all for this intro, guys. So like I said, if you are interested at all in joining me for this little escapade into the world of just doll lore and doll collecting, hop over to my Patreon. I will be putting the rest of the videos over there. For the rest of you guys, stick around. I have more things coming out this month that'll just be here on my YouTube. And if you are interested in supporting me monetarily, I do have a Ko-fi as well. So if anyone's interested in that, both of these things, my Patreon and my Ko-fi, are linked in my About section here on YouTube. Again, thank you guys so much for just being here and vibing along with me as I just sort of yap about whatever comes into my head. And I will see you all in the next one. Good night.